personally, I mean, I don't want to sound like like I know what I'm talking about in a recording studio because I don't. But I would go record.
I need to do.
Oh, now you start texting.
No. Are we on?
We are.
Hello.
Okay.
Is this thing on?
No, I just need to do clock, timer.
And start. Because we're on the clock.
We are on the clock.
So how did it go with Singto?
I didn't stay.
Oh.
Because
Hold
it's
on.
shit. Do you want me to use my timer? Would that help? I mean, take your time. We've got all day.
Technological
Right.
challenges.
Hello. Welcome to the podcast. Gary Crause.
Oh, thank you for having me.
More than welcome.
Gary is the MD, the guru of greatness, what other words can I come up with Gary for what he does? Nothing, Russell? Come on.
Charlatan.
Studio?
Shaman of sexy, that's me. Anyway, we're in Gary's studio. Gary Crause is the MD manager of Legend Studio. And what's your role in Papa?
I own it.
Oh, he owns it.
That's a good start.
That's a good start.
That's not a bad start, to be
Now,
fair.
I'm going to pre-warn everybody.
My name's on the lease.
Yeah, you pay the bills. The
Yeah.
boss is downstairs, but you pay the bills.
Yeah.
I will warn everyone. I've got a feeling this is going to be a bit of a sweary one.
Quite fucking possibly.
Yes.
I meant to kind of clarify that before we started because, I have a tendency to drop an F-bomb from time to time.
And
What
to
do you
be
mean from
fair,
time to
you're in
time?
good fucking company.
And also, you'll be hearing that the quality of the recording.
should be a level up.
If it's he's just checking out. If it's not a level up, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Because we're actually sat in Gary's amazing studio. That Russell, you've never been to, have you?
I've never been
If
to
this
one,
sounds
no.
like crap, it's not recorded at Legend.
It's recorded on my stupid little thing.
We might edit this bit out, yeah.
So, Gary, who are you and what do you do? That's my first question.
Sweet Lord. Do you have all day? Okay, I'm Gary Crause. I guess I call myself a music producer and a songwriter. But that's kind of my second career in my life. My first career in my life, I actually started out in big corporate. I started fresh out of the military, working for a bank.
Oh, hold on. You was in the military? What were you in the military? Please tell me you were a sniper or a special ops person that you can't talk about.
All white South African males between the age of kind of 70 and probably 40 have been through the military. It wasn't an option for us.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Military service then?
Military service. So in my day, it was 2 years. I did 2 years. I was in the artillery, heavy artillery, big guns, 55mm howitzers. And for my sins, I spent 6 months in a war zone in Angola fighting somebody else's war.
Holy crap. I never knew that about you, and I've known you for years. Jeez. Okay, so you went...
And without this podcast, we never would have known. It's
No.
brilliant. Very informative.
That's madness. Wow.
Yeah, it was a lovely time.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet it was.
Look back with fond memories, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
So from the military, they went into big corporate. Doing what?
Yeah, big corporate. I as most young yobs do, we kind of like leave school. So, for us, leaving the military is leaving school.
Yeah.
And then it's like, what the hell do I do? So I had contacts in a big bank in South Africa. So kind of that's where I went. I started working at a bank. So it's a funny thing because I kind of only had one job in my life, but I worked for like 3 or 4 different companies.
Right.
Because I worked for a bank, and then I eventually transferred into the IT division. And then eventually I was kind of migrated into a company that was formed between the bank and IBM.
Huh.
And then eventually IBM bought the company. So then I'd worked now for 3 companies doing kind of the same job. And then AT&T bought the division from IBM, so I worked for AT&T.
Doing the same job across the board.
Doing the-
Excellent.
But so far, you've not mentioned music once.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it was, 1999. I got to
Prince. Was it? I thought I was doing a quiz.
Yeah. 1999, Prince. Absolutely. Yep.
Point to me.
You're on it there.
Thanks.
So I used to stalk this fella at Universal Music or Polydor in those days because I was a Kiss fan, and I used to like phone him up, go, "Where's a new freaking album going to be available?" All that sort of
And
shit.
you'd never guess you were
But
a
after
Kiss
years,
fan.
after years and years of actually phoning this poor yob up, I became really good friends with him, Chris Fenter. And he introduced me to the South African band that Universal had just signed called Toxic Shame. I still worked at AT&T at that point. Met the band. Universal released an album. I became a huge fan. The album did nothing. Then one day over some drinks, I was bantering around the fact that I think I'm going to leave corporate now because I've always wanted to get into music.
But you never had a
Never had a background.
No background. Didn't play an instrument or anything at that time.
No, I've never played an instrument. However, when I was 10 years old, I always said I wanted to be a music producer. So I kind of looked at the back of records and went, "Yep, I want to be that dude. I want to be Eddie Kramer."
But you didn't know what a music producer was at 10 years old, surely.
Didn't have a clue. But it seemed important because he was on the back of the album.
Excellent.
So I said, okay, well, I'll start a record company.
Hold on.
And I'll start.
I've got a question about that, admittedly. So you've, with no background in music, no idea really what I'm doing, how to produce.
Zero background. I started managing a band, started a record company, made them for a period of time the biggest rock band in South Africa, and kind of
am I missing
got on my way.
Well, no, there's two sides. In terms of being in artist management, there's the operational level in terms of the marketing, the promotions, the contacts, getting the gigs and promoting who they are and their name.
Yeah.
And there's this. And for those watching in black and white, I'm pointing to all the kit and caboodle in the studio in terms of actually producing.
This I got into later because the band that I started managing and started the record company for, which was Legend Music, they were both producers.
Okay.
And the one guy owned a fantastic studio, and he was one of the biggest, if not the biggest, jingle producer in South Africa. So all of the music production was done by him at that point.
Okay.
However, as a record company, it became apparent very quickly that my biggest expense was paying for artists to record albums.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of figured with a bit of math that for the cost of 2 albums, I could actually build a good but small studio. And the other guy that didn't have a studio was going to be the producer. So I ended up about 3 years into being the record company, built myself a music studio. And quite literally, the month that it was finished construction, the other fellow decided that he was going to move from Johannesburg to Cape Town, and he relocated. So I was left with my finger up my ass. So I was like, cool, I guess I'm going to teach myself how to do this shit now.
I'm in it for a penny, right?
When you say,
Absolutely.
I'm going to go back. Sorry, when you say start a record label,
yeah.
So what does that mean? What does that entail?
Look, there's a whole heap of crap that has to happen in the background. And again, had I had any experience in the music industry, I would not.
You probably wouldn't have done it. Yeah.
Absolutely. The music industry is an absolute shithole. It's probably the worst industry in the world to be involved in from the business side. But anyway, I was young and naive and tenacious, so I kind of figured that I started this because I've been a fan of music ever since I can remember. I can remember playing my own records when I was like 3 years old on my little gramophone and my double reel tape and shit like that. But I've always viewed the industry and even the way that I produce as I'm doing it as a fan. So I like music. I know what I like it to sound like. And when I started the record company, so I started managing this band, started the record company pretty much at the same time. And I kind of figured that there were so many international bands popular and famous in South Africa that had never toured there because of apartheid.
Yeah.
And I had figured that was because of radio airplay. So my first and most important mission was the minute this band's second album was ready, was to get them on the radio. And again, through a bit of luck and pure tenacity, I got them on some of the biggest stations in South Africa, and they had a monster hit with a song called Silent Movie, and all of a sudden,
bang.
It was just a roller coaster ride.
And does that band still exist?
No, hell no. They were their own worst enemies.
Which I think you hear a
I
lot
say
of.
band. It was two guys, both singers and guitar players and writers and producers. And then once we were now famous and had I think the second hit on radio already, we kind of sat around in the boardroom, which was the table on my patio outside, and they went, "I guess we got to put a fucking band together." And I was like, "Yeah, because we're getting calls now.
Yeah.
People want to see this
We've got to
band
do
live."
stuff.
So they found a drummer and they found a bass player and they whacked this band together. But it was all born from the snowballing effect of now people know this name, Toxic Shame. It's like, where can we see the band? And another DJ, to be fair, was giving us a bit of a hard time. Whilst one DJ was really championing us, another DJ was really hammering us because he kept saying that the band was just a studio project. I was like, okay, we've got to prove these guys wrong.
Okay.
Let's get out there now. But anyway, that was just the first one. And once I started that, I didn't release them first. Once I decided I was starting a record label, I signed other bands. So when I launched my label, I think I launched it with 5 albums simultaneously released. Most of them were getting airplay all together. So it was making quite a splash in the music industry.
Wow.
From a production point of view, I mean, as you've pointed out, you're obviously a Kiss fan.
Yeah.
So, Let's Go Rock fan. Is from a production side, is that your obviously must be your wheelhouse, but do you sort of branch out into other aspects, other areas of music as well? I guess not. Right.
I guess no. It's I mean, it's a difficult thing because if you cast your eyes around, I mean, clearly I'm a Kiss fan. I've got the ink on my body.
Noticed.
And, I've been a fan since I was like 10 or 12 years old. Or
is that because of the music, or just because of the overall popularity? Not popularity is the wrong word. The overall kind, because they are
the
one
show.
They're one of the first real big marketing geniuses.
I became a fan in the early days, so I've been a Kiss fan since probably '76.
Okay.
But
that's the year I was born. I'd like to point that out.
It was I heard a song. I heard Rock and Roll Night, Party Every Day. I was like, okay, that's got me. That is the mantra of life.
Yeah.
Rock and Roll Night, Party Every Day. Bang, went out, started buying the records. But in saying that, whilst I'm clearly a monster Kiss fan, I'm a monster pop head. I love pop.
Okay.
Prince, one of my favorite artists. Boy George is one of my favorite artists. Dead or Alive is like my all-time favorite
you've got
song.
A picture of you and Boy George up here.
I do. I've got a couple of photos of Boy George.
There's some he can't show us because they're personal pictures.
This is us in the tub.
Boy George has got this really terrible freaking habit of, like, if you pose with him and like you're standing next to him, the second the photographer is going to take the photo, he leans forward so that he can be in front of you. So that photo on the couch doesn't look that bad, but the other one, I'm literally standing. So the angle's a little dodge, and he's bending forward, and it looks like I'm just standing behind him smiling.
He's told that story a few times, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Hey?
Just to cover himself.
Just to cover my back. I wasn't doing anything him.
I wasn't caught like that. He bent forward.
So what brought you to the old island of Phuket?
Yeah.
The Sunshine Island?
Again, a bit of a funny story. I mean, we live here because we're South African, and South Africa's a shithole. But
don't hold back.
Yeah, don't hold back. See what you feel.
There's a lot of you actually.
I believe we played rugby on the weekend, but I'm that unpatriotic that I don't even know who we played or what the score was.
I can
played
tell
Japan
you.
and you won.
Yeah, well done to South Africa. They beat a Japanese rugby team.
Yeah. It's probably the only rugby team we can beat at this point, I'm sure. But in the year of the tsunami, so again, a backtrack story. Debs and I, at one point, we were building this really big house in a suburb of Johannesburg, and it took a long time to get this frickin' house built because we had a shitty builder and whatever. But we had just moved in. We were trying to furnish the place. Debs was getting it nice, looking great, and because of the stressful build, I said to her, "We really, really do need to go on a holiday this year." And she said, cool, I want to go to Greece. And I said, well, my nephew Jason keeps talking about Phuket. It's like the best place on earth. And then she said, look, but we also need curtains for the lounge for this new house. So in that particular year, the curtains won. We bought the curtains instead of going on holiday. And as it turned out, it was the year of the tsunami. So we were literally saved by the curtains.
Yeah,
Wow.
fair enough. Yeah,
Quite honestly.
we still got those curtains. I would not be letting them go.
No, but for
Anyway,
some
a
reason,
couple
all
of
I can
years
think
after
about
that,
is
we-
bamboo curtains, which is a terrible, different thing. And it's kept many people here.
Yeah.
And then a couple of years after that, we decided, okay, we would now get on this vacation. So we came to Phuket, stayed in the Bang Tao area,
Right.
and absolutely fell in love with the place. So this must have been about 2007.
Okay.
It's the same
Maybe.
year I was here.
And we came back the next year, and then we kind of started coming like twice a year. And I think by the third visit, we knew we wanted to live here.
Wow.
So we kept coming back just to, recce the place more and more and more.
And you had your recording stuff still in South Africa at
And
the time.
so I think by that time I'd closed my record label down, and I was now fully functioning as a recording studio. And in fact, again, there's just it's the decisions you make in life. So at the period that we had decided, well, not the period we decided we were leaving, we had decided a while ago. So we had sold the house, we had sold the cars, we were renting, and my relationship with Universal Music was becoming stronger and stronger and stronger. And a lot of the stuff that I was producing at that point was being signed by Universal Music.
Oh, cool.
And at that point, Sony had just lost the Idols, the American Idol
Yeah.
Idols license globally, and it was given to Universal. And Universal approached me and said, "We want you to come bring all your shit to Universal and be the in-house producer, because we're now going to have all these idols that we need to produce."
Wow.
Cool.
And I was like, "Buddy, I'm getting on a plane in
Yeah.
like 2 months. Where was this offer a
Yeah,
year
yeah,
ago?"
yeah.
So I had to turn that down and go, "I'm sorry, I'm committed. We're committed at this point, and we're leaving." So
Far out.
we gave that up and we left, and we haven't looked back.
And so you came here with your partner, Debs, who's
Yep.
lovely. And Blaze was
So
already...
Blaze, when we arrived on the island, Blaze was 9 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now he's 8 foot tall
And now,
Yeah.
now he's 8 foot tall and 19 years old.
Yeah.
and tattooed up to the eyeballs.
He is. So, I mean, in South Africa, he used to hang around with me when when we were doing sound checks for Toxic Shame and all that sort of stuff. So he grew up in, firstly a live music environment, and then secondly in a recording studio once we had built the studio. But I always consciously made a decision, with Debs to say, I'm not pushing this kid into anything. He's going to ask me.
Apart from the
Yeah.
ditch,
And-
when
and-
he's
exactly,
stupid and naughty.
In South Africa, we beat the shit out of our kids.
Yeah.
But,
We're allowed to.
No, we're
That's the
allowed
rules.
to. But when I was growing up, I'm the sixth of 5 children.
How's that work out?
Sorry, say that again slowly.
I mean, my maths isn't good, Gary, but...
Apparently, one of them died really young.
Oh, right. Okay.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Bring a bit of
Chill
humour.
is all right.
So my closest sibling is 16 years older than me.
Wow. Okay.
My younger sister is 16 years older than me. But when I was growing up, my dad, being from born in the 20s, was a man's man,
Man's
as they
man.
were back
Yeah,
in
yeah.
then. And I grew up with the continual pressure that I was going to be a boxer and a rugby player. And I was like, buddy, I don't like getting hurt. I'm not playing either
Not
of
being
those
funny.
two.
Yeah.
See this face? This doesn't like getting hit.
So I said to Debs, I'm not putting my kid under that pressure of saying, you're going to be this or you're going to be that or whatever. And quite literally, he had to ask for his first guitar for his birthday and all that sort of shit.
What age
And
did you...
ask for lessons. And, I wanted to make sure that if he was going to be a muser, which it looked clearly like he was going to be, that it's something that he wanted
But
to
it's driven
do.
from him. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because he's the one that's buying into it.
Exactly.
What age did he ask for his first guitar?
Probably at the age of about 5.
Okay.
Far out.
And then we bought him a little acoustic guitar because, you're 5 years old, your hands
Yeah.
aren't very big. And then, again, he wanted an electric for his birthday, which was his 9th birthday. So we bought him one for his 9th birthday in South Africa. It's actually the guitar that's on the cover of his new album.
All right, cool.
Yeah, and he plays that guitar quite a lot.
You can plug the new album if you want. I don't mind.
Fake Smiles, Broken Strings, out now.
Buy it on iTunes. We'll put a link in the description.
Hey, look, we could actually, as part of the outro, we can start the tune off, couldn't we?
I could probably. Well, Blaze actually was part of. He did. I think he did a bit of guitar work, didn't he, on our
No,
intro?
he sat that one out.
Oh, he said,
yeah.
didn't he
Well, in
not
that
do the
case,
first?
fuck his album.
Yeah, arsehole. But I think he helped with the first one that I did for my radio show, for the Tiger radio show.
He did all the music for that one.
Yeah, he did the music
and
for that
a
one
little
for
bit
me.
of voices and whatever. Yeah.
So when you came here, did you set up the recording? That the idea was to set up a recording studio in Phuket.
It wasn't. The idea was to move to Thailand. It was to get out of South Africa. And the reason that
But you must have had a view as to what you were going to do when you were here.
the reason we actually didn't. The reason that we wanted to get out of South Africa is being a white male in South Africa, you're literally at the bottom of the pecking order in terms of jobs and job opportunities.
Huh.
There's a thing called black economic empowerment, and the rules state that if you've got a candidate that's a black male, he's first option, then black female, then Indian, then colored, then even a white female is preferred above a white male. So there was no future for Blaze off the bat. Secondly, I'd started making a name for myself with Legend Music on the jingle side. Recording adverts, and I was even doing stuff for the SABC, South African Broadcast Corporation, and a lot of the big banks and stuff like that. But the black economic empowerment goes that far in that they've legislated to those big companies that they can only buy services from companies that are at least 50% black owned. And I was like, I'm a one-man show, and I'm not giving half of my company away. I'm just not doing it, just so that I can try and get business. It's something that I've worked for a long time.
Business which you're giving half away of anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so the long story short is we wanted to move out of the country. We picked this place. We met with a lawyer on one of our visits, and we said to him, we've got these options. We can do a recording studio. We can put our money into a bed and breakfast. And Debbie's brother's in kind of the oil supplements industries, and he had a product that we could punt here. So we could sell, a Molly slip or whatever the hell it was. And the lawyer actually said to us, firstly, importing shit into Thailand is a bit of a mission.
Yeah.
And
Russell does because he
no.
imports cocaine. That was a Freudian slip. I meant to say
Might
coffee.
want to edit that bit out of the podcast.
I was just like, Russell does not import cocaine.
He
Coffee
imports
is
coffee.
coffee.
Yeah.
That's
it's
quite
not
bad,
white,
isn't it?
it's
And
brown.
canine products.
And canine products, yeah. And then he said, there's a billion B&Bs here. The hotels run big specials. You'll be forced out of the market in a heartbeat. He said, but there are no foreign-owned recording studios here. So that seems to be your niche.
Yeah.
Do that. We're like, cool. Well,
That's your wheelhouse anyway.
then we just, exactly. Pack all the crap up in South Africa and ship it over. And so that's exactly what we did. We, on our very last visit here, we rented a premises at Boat Lagoon, went back to South Africa, packed all our crap up, put it in a container, and then set the dates for moving.
Because you had the studio in Boat Lagoon, didn't you?
I
Drive
did,
in,
yeah.
it was on the right-hand side.
It was,
Just
yeah.
round about, I remember going to that. That's the one. That was quite a big
massive
place,
studio,
actually.
like 400 squares.
Yeah.
Beautiful big studio. But despite the fact that we, after a couple of months, were like very, very busy,
Yeah.
the market doesn't dictate that we can charge a lot for our services.
Yeah, Phuket.
So we were working our ass off and just paying it all back in rent.
Yeah.
Eventually, after a year and a half or 2 years of that, Debs and I went, you know what? Let's just move this crap home. Most Thai people work from home here. We'll become like that.
Happy days, yeah, fair enough. It
So-
was a lovely studio, though, wasn't
It
it?
was
Yeah.
beautiful, yeah.
So who do you? So what do you do now? So what's your kind of day to day, week to week? What's the word I'm looking for?
Something close
Things.
to nothing, but different than the day before.
Come
Oh my
again.
God, is that a song title? He's writing
It
lyrics.
should be, yeah.
It's
I
a
like
good
that.
lyric. I'll take that. I'll have that.
It's my
Put a little
favorite
jingle to that and away you go.
It's my favorite Prince lyric.
Oh, there you go.
From Raspberry Beret.
Should have guessed
I
that.
do as little as possible. No. We started with the music studio. The music studio has fortunately been very busy for a number of years now. Mostly I do music. I do get a lot of requests for voiceovers.
Okay.
I'm not overly fond of voiceovers because it's far more stressful than recording music. When you're doing like voiceovers like we are now, motorbike noise, birds tweeting outside, all of that sort of shit can come through on the recordings, especially when I'm
Let
getting
me
a
tell you
booking for
about
like
recording.
yeah, exactly.
I know nothing about the pain of that.
Let me tell you about the pain of
but
starting
music
a
is
production
cool. It's like
company.
it's noisy and shit. So it's like you don't hear all of that crap.
Yeah, fair one. Yeah, and for the work that you do, is it all for Phuket-based clients or?
No, honestly, no. My two regulars that I have at the moment, on the music side, one is an American, a retired American man. Recording my second album with him now. So he comes to Phuket for long periods of a time, a year at a time. And we're about 2/3 of the way through his second album.
Okay.
I have a French, a young French guy that is a regular. Again, he spends time on the island and time off the island.
Yep.
And on the voiceover side, no, it's usually internationals. It's usually guys that are on holiday. So either actors, voice actors, or voiceover artists that come on holiday, and then they get a call. Hey, we need, you've either got to fix something for a movie or fix something for a TV program, which was the last one I did. Or, hey, we've got this jingle for you, and you're the only voice that can do it. And then they're like, oh, fuck, we need a studio.
Need a studio, yeah.
So that's, on the voiceover side, it's purely international. Music side, the regulars and the non-regulars are a mixture of, back karaoke singers that want to record a song to a backtrack and want to sound like they sound when they sing in karaoke, which is a bit heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Or singer-songwriters. I get quite a lot of singer-songwriters that'll come in and go, I can half-ass play a guitar, but I can write songs and I want to sing them, and I need you to create these songs for me. So I'll rent in.
Okay, so that was the track I was going to go down. So like for me, I could walk in and say, this is the song I've got in my head. This is how it sounds.
Yeah.
I can dabble a bit on the keyboards and give you a structure to it, but you can then take that and build it,
absolutely,
bring in the session players and make it sound like it should sound.
Without a doubt. And that's the thing I like to do the most, and it's probably the thing I'm best at.
Okay.
So I can pull the sound out of your head and make it sound. Give the song the best version of you that I can give it.
Cool.
Are you lining Gary up to record
100%.
our Christmas? I can know where this is going.
Well, actually, no. I'm lining Gary up to. I mean, excuse me, because I spent time in a recording studio. Oh crikey, this is nearly 20 years ago. So I've been playing keyboards since I was kind of weird.
What?
But
You've never told me you play the keyboard.
Well, he never told you he went to war. We're just learning this about him now.
Very
right?
true. Going to war and playing the keyboards are very different things, though.
Well, it depends how you do it, I guess.
Yeah, they're both noisy.
But why then? Hold on. Why then have I paid Gary's team to record our intro for us when you could have just done it on your keyboard and I could have
Because
sang?
my keyboards have been packed up for the last couple of years because my studio room, which is just my keyboards, is my kennel room at the minute. So the plan is once the new facility is open, I can get that out. I will dust out the keyboards and see if they still work.
We've done live comedy shows, and I never knew you. I could have written so much more stuff in that show.
I've actually,
I know.
what I will do when we got out of the car, I'll send you my link on SoundCloud because it's been up there for years. Just some of the stuff I recorded. So and this is why I asked about your styles because I have a very and will tell this. I have a very eclectic taste in music. I'm not just like I'm a rock dog and that's it. I will listen to rock. I would listen to some classical. I would listen to pop. I will listen to euphoric house. I'll listen to trance. I'm all over the shop.
And crap 80s.
And
crap
there
80s,
is
nothing crap about the 80s.
Which is, by the way, the best genre, the
No,
best
I
period of
disagree.
music
80s,
in the
80s
world.
is terrible. 80s music is awful.
Yeah, he doesn't know what he's talking about. So I recorded a fair amount of, I wouldn't say album worth, but
You've done an album?
I've probably got enough material for an album, but I wouldn't say it was anything decent. So there's probably a couple of tracks in there that are quite, I dare say, quite good. But
I hate you right now.
I'll send you both the links, and you can.
Gary doesn't want to hear your shitty little keyboard playing. I do, just so I can rip it apart.
Yeah. Well, I know you would do that, but Gary might say, right, if we did this properly, this is what we might be able to do with this.
Exactly.
No.
And that would just just a pet project for me. I'm just hijacking the podcast.
Jay, we will let you play tambourine. We will.
No, fuck you all.
Fuck it, triangle.
Fuck you. Right? If there's
He's
anyone
getting very sweary today, isn't he?
Yeah. If anyone anyone's going to be famous doing stuff, it's me. I don't want to hear. Don't give him. This happens to me all the time.
You can be the manager. Oh,
I
no,
want
it's
to be the
him.
manager.
No, yeah, that's my
Always
job.
the fucking
Yeah, sorry,
fucking
yeah.
bridesmaid, aren't I? Always a bride. All right, carry on, you two. Talk about your twinkle keyboard shit.
Well, no, that was it. It was just a.
Well, there's only two genres of music I don't like. However, it doesn't
What
mean
are
I,
they?
it doesn't
Oh
mean
no,
I
let's
can't
play a game.
produce
Let's
them.
play a game.
I'm
You
going to go
guess.
reggae
Oh
or
no, I
drum
think...
and bass.
Right, so that's your two. I'm going to go jungle and gangster rap.
You're right on one of those.
Oh, 1 point to me. Gangster
Gangster
rap.
rap.
Gangster rap.
Yeah.
But in saying that, I've recorded a truckload of gangster rap. It's kind of funny shit because you have these like quite sweet, polite people coming in,
And then just going
and
way
then
off a
the
cliff.
minute they get in the booth, it's all your titties out and playing with your pussy and
It's Gary's gangster rap.
and
Get your
honestly,
titties out.
some of the lyrics are that
I'm
shocking.
fairly, I'm fairly confident he's moderating this for the podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
And I mean, some of them that's literally quite shocking. So the guy will say, "Hold on, I just need to redo that part." But he's so ashamed of his own lyrics. They won't tell me like go back to that part.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
say
yeah.
that. It's like, can you just take me about a minute back? Like, I know why, buddy.
Yeah. I know where we're
Because the
going with
lyrics are shocking.
Yeah.
So you also own...
The other one is
go
the
on.
other one is jazz.
Jazz?
I
Jazz.
I
Oh,
despise
yeah. No,
jazz.
fair one.
But, okay,
Bores me.
before I ask you the question I was going to interrupt you at, there's so many different genres of jazz, though. Is it that over... Because, I mean, bossa and nova could almost be classified as jazz-esque. And what about swing and all...
Anything that's kind of got a pop sensibility, I'm fine with.
Right.
But when when free jazz is just
When they just get...
it's just pointless, and
That's
you
me
know,
doing jazz.
Oh, okay. Just wondering what that was.
even like a lot of those good standards, they're perfectly good pop songs ruined by jazz chords. It's
Right.
like, why don't you hit a chord that shouldn't be there? It's like, come on, guys,
Fucking about. Yeah.
I'm not a jazz fan, I must admit. I
Jazz
like,
hands.
I like jazz
Yeah,
hands.
jazz hands are
Jazz
wonderful.
hands, yeah, we're all good with that.
So, Gary, you also own Papa. Tell us
Yes.
about what's Papa.
So Papa, wow, we were dragged kicking and screaming into that.
And do you have a brand new bag?
Sweet Lord, I do. It's got lots of sequins on, and
That took you a second, didn't it?
No, I got it. I got it in the end.
lots of sequins and a boa. Then I'm done. Papa, Phuket Academy of Performing Arts. We, being in the music industry in Phuket, we obviously had met a girl called Siobhan McGovern, and she
Canadian chick, wasn't she?
Canadian girl, yeah. One of the best singers I've ever seen.
Better than Celine Dion or not?
Um,
They're both Canadian, by the way.
they're both Canadian. They probably Siobhan has got the pipes. A different singer.
Yeah.
Before
got
I
the
let you
pipes.
finish the story, I liked Siobhan. I always thought she was an amazing, talented. She was a musician, and she was a singer as well. She
Yeah.
played, didn't she, a bit?
Yeah, she could play violin and keys.
Now, if she's listening, I apologise, but my only issue with Siobhan is she didn't have what I would call stage presence. In the way that I wanted her to, maybe, because you was about to argue with me a little bit.
I am about to argue with you, but I have seen her great on stage, and I've seen her not great on stage. But as far as professionalism,
Oh, she's brilliant.
You just don't get better.
Did she work with
She
you?
could literally
Sorry.
get on the stage and put on such a show, regardless of whether she was in a bad mood, sick, whatever it might be. You never knew. when she
Maybe
was
I
on
never
Did she
stage.
work with you at the old studio in Boat Avenue? Boat Lagoon?
No. So what she did is when I closed that studio down, she actually rented that spot and opened up her music school.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's right.
So Siobhan's music school was based there. And again, Siobhan being a muser and a teacher, she needed help on the business running of the school. So we got involved with helping her on the business side running the school.
Okay.
After a little while of doing that, we were approached by what was then PIA, now UWC,
T.
to say, UWCT, to say, hey guys, we want to change up our music department and we want all of these things. Can you give them to us? And Debs and I being, entrepreneurial South Africans. We went, hell, of course we can.
Yeah.
You know, they could have asked for, Table Mountain. We would have been,
Yes, of course we can. Say yes first.
just tomorrow. We'll
Yeah.
give that to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we got home and we were like, what the hell are we
Yeah,
going to do
yeah.
now? But anyway, in the back of my head, while we were saying, of course we can do this, I already had Siobhan,
Yeah.
going, cool, I can get Siobhan. We can employ another teacher or 2 or 3 or whatever it might be. We met with Siobhan, we put the whole plan together, and then we started the Phuket Academy of Performing Arts, which was solely based at that location. And Siobhan's used to run separately. And after about 2 years of doing that, we just smashed the 2 companies together and went, cool, it's now all called the Phuket Academy of Performing Arts. And then about a year after that, she went, I've had enough of teaching and I'm out of here. I'm off to a retreat in South America for 5 years.
Wow.
She did just go quite quickly, I felt.
She did. She had enough. Teaching kids is not the problem. It's dealing with the parents and dealing with
Parents are arseholes.
not all of them.
Most of
because
them.
you're a parent and
Well,
I kind of like you.
that's not helping.
Yeah, you like me, but you don't bring my kids to you. That's the difference.
Yeah.
At the moment, we've got only wonderful parents in the school. But we have had some really challenging ones.
Yeah. So it's the same with dogs. The dogs are never the problem.
Oh, absolutely. But but as a dog, I mean, so there's another thing that I've done in my life. Not as my main job, but I trained dogs for 3 years.
Oh, there we go. You see.
Really?
In a police method, yeah. Absolutely.
For the police.
No, but I trained, for the general public.
Okay.
But the guy that owned and ran the dog school was a
Explanatory sort of thing.
police
Yeah.
dog trainer.
I got a good friend
I
who's
got
a dog
taught by him.
trainer as well, Gary. You should meet him.
Do you?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. You keep saying you're going to introduce me to him.
Is he any good?
No, he just blames the owner of the dog. He doesn't,
Well, it is always the owner of
Yeah.
the dog. Because
Yeah.
dog training is just a euphemism. You don't train the dog, you train the owner.
So one of the first things my mentor said, well, there's 2 things. One was the first day of school. It's like, if you guys are here because you prefer working with dogs and working with dogs and animals is much easier and it means you don't have to work with people, you're in the wrong fucking game. All right? You're not just a dog trainer. Yes, obviously that's what you're here for, but you're a marriage counselor. You're a guardian.
I'll give you the marriage counselor, but I just have to say right now, you are the worst marriage counsellor I've ever been to.
To be fair, in your particular case, I'm the best. I advise you not to do it in the first place.
But
Back in the day, I remember where we were having this conversation.
okay, you're a very
Mate,
good.
Get out now.
You're a very good divorce
Run.
counsellor. you did very well at divorce counselling. I'll give you that one.
Yeah. And I've emceed quite a few weddings.
Yes, you have.
Fairly ironic in and of itself.
Absolutely.
Have you ever emceed a wedding of someone who you'd emceed before? I always wanted to know that. Not about you, but in general, because I've DJ'd at a shed.
Second time
yeah,
round?
I wanted to DJ.
Oh, so their second event.
Yeah.
Oh, right. No.
I've always wanted to DJ at someone's second event just to say, hey, well done.
No, I've done friends of the couples and stuff like that, but not.
But
the
never
same room,
they got
same
divorced.
Same broom,
same
same
got
bride,
together
or
again.
same groom. No, never.
Okay,
done
so
that.
back to Gary. So I've had. So we're in your studio now, but downstairs you've got the music room. So is that part of Papa or is that Legend? What's that?
No, that's part of Papa. So when Siobhan left, we bought her out, her partnership, and we closed down her facility, and we built a music room downstairs. And the reason we did that is probably 95% of our client base is based at UWCT, on-site music teaching. But we have a whole heap of really, really good students that had come up through Siobhan's ranks that we just didn't want to abandon.
Yeah.
So we have one teacher a day for the whole week that comes to our facility here, and we teach kids from BIS, Kajonkiet, Head Start, all the non-UWCT.
And adults. Can I just
And
point
adults,
out?
yeah.
Because I've actually
And you.
I've trained here. I've paid money to have singing lessons
It's
here.
a
with
bad
Papa.
use of the word.
We
adult,
actually
but I get your
have
point.
quite a lot of adult students. I think at the moment we probably have 4 or 5.
I really enjoyed my time. Let me just big up the Russell. I really enjoyed my time here at Papa's studio. Make sure you come. Thanks. That's it.
And what are you teaching? Is it just in terms? Obviously vocal guidance. How to use your voice and to sing properly.
How we try and differentiate ourselves from the rest of the pack in Phuket, and there are a lot of music schools in Phuket, is we decided early on that we wanted to teach contemporary music lessons. Most music lessons are taught based on kind of a classical curriculum. an ABRSM curriculum, whereas we chose a UK brand or school called Rock School London, and it's contemporary music, so you're learning
School
the
of
stuff
Rock.
that, yeah, exactly, School of Rock.
Yeah.
But
See what you did there.
you know, it's drums, guitar, electric guitar, acoustic guitar, ukulele, bass. On the piano side,
Can I just say, sorry, ukulele doesn't really fit in with the rock.
Yeah, but thanks to Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Really? What about the big fat Hawaiian dude?
Yeah, but you know, that was so long ago that we'd moved
we'd
past
passed that,
that.
yeah.
We had moved past that, and then Taylor found a ukulele in the trash or something, and then all of a sudden every kid wants to play. Anyway,
Yeah.
I think we've only taught like 2 kids ukulele.
Yeah. The rest we'd beaten over the head with it.
The other one.
Yeah.
Who was the black and white guy? I almost got really racist. Who was the guy that he was cleaning windows one? When I'm cleaning windows, didn't he play the ukulele?
Anyway, back to the school.
Yeah,
Oh,
keyboards.
fuck you both.
The keyboard curriculum is split up between piano and electric piano or synths. So
Yeah.
you can take different things like that. Band lessons. So it's purely based on teaching kids music that is fun for them and that they can play with their peers. They can jam together. And it's hard to go and jam on Tchaikovsky or something like that.
Yeah.
So now that I've had my singing lessons and I've now found out you're a keyboard player, are we going to do this then? This is where this is going?
Do what?
Well, we're going to record our song.
No,
Here's the duo.
We should,
The Jay and Russell duo.
I'm not sure we should put it on the podcast.
Yeah, I was just checking that my name was first then. And it was, so you're right. Yeah, carry on.
Well, it's alphabetical,
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's
So,
true,
but
yeah.
no, I think we should do a Christmas single
No, I know you want to. Okay, well, we can do a Christmas single.
Of course you can.
because I think that would be fun.
But does that mean we have to write one, or are we just going to sing one that we already know?
Well, let's ask someone if we can find someone who knows about the music industry. If we can find someone that might know something about it, we could ask them the question. So,
Okay.
for example, I could say, "So, Gary,
So if I happen to be one of those people,
if you happen to be that particular person, would you suggest that Jay and I did a Christmas single that was a cover of a insert well-known Christmas single here, be it a carol or a well-known Christmas song,
sure.
or we write our own The Shark and Sniffer Christmas #1?
Once again, I'm pleased I was at the front.
So
Or we could do both and have an A and a B
the,
side.
the original answer would have been right one, but because you guys have left it so late in the day,
Late, dude, it's
Christmas
October.
is round the corner.
Christmas is miles away. We could knock this out in an afternoon.
I could bang one out pretty quick, to be honest.
You know what?
I'm going to move down to the sofa.
I think right one.
Right one.
Yeah.
That's going to take effort and time, though, isn't it?
Not the answer you wanted.
Okay, no, but it does lead me into another question. For you as a producer, so if someone comes, are you only dealing with the material that you're given? Like, I come in and say, look, I've got this song, here's the lyrics, or this is the music, and you build from there? Or can you just bang one out yourself? So, and if you're creating your own content, if you're creating your own music, where am I starting from? Do you go music first and build a song around that, or do you write lyrics first and build music around that? Or do you do both at the same time?
Me personally, who can't play a single instrument,
well, that answers that question.
but has written a truckload of songs and
but you can
continues
hear it,
to
right?
write
So
a truckload of songs. I tend to write. I don't know. I wanted to say lyrics first, but it isn't. That absolutely isn't. Usually, it starts with a melody. I'll wake up with a melody in my head. Some lyrics will form, and then I kind of bang it out on the keyboard. One-fingered and build a
Just
song
to get
like
the thread
that.
to it.
But in terms of like a Christmas song, for instance, so if you guys wanted to write a Christmas song, I could just bang out a sequence of chords. In other words, structure a song for you, and you would write something on top of that.
Yeah. Okay.
And get your vocal melodies and whatever that'll go on top of that.
Well, now we've got old Beethoven sat next to me, right? Surely you must
It's not
have...
the same Bernard.
No, surely you must have some sort of song that we can just put words over, already done.
I don't off the top of my head, no. And again, I haven't had the Ivories out for ages. But
Yeah, but I mean, if you're going to write a Christmas song, Christmas is kind of cliche.
it's a specific.
You just take like the magic chords, the ones that kind of fit with every hit song that's ever been written.
There's only 4 chords that we have.
Yeah,
used,
exactly. Right? Bang those 4 chords out, put a couple of Christmas bells in them to make it Christmassy, and off you go. Write your music, write your lyrics to it.
Yeah,
and then come in and sing it.
Because I tend to find if I'm being creative in that sense, it's music and lyrics kind of together at the same time.
Yeah,
it's just like you say, you're in the shower or you're in the car, and it just kind of strikes you, and you just build it from
absolutely.
there.
Yeah.
Whereas if you look at someone like Elton John, why are you sitting there?
Because I'm shocked that I never knew how much of a muso you were.
Right, but there's also, there's a lot of people that, for me, the biggest draw would be Bernie Taupin and Elton John.
Yeah.
Bernie was the writer. He would just write lyrics. That was all he did, was write lyrics. Elton couldn't do that bit, and he could just do the music. So you can give him the lyrics, and he would put the music
and
together
he'd be
with
inspired to play it in a particular
and I couldn't
way.
do.
Yeah.
I guess anyone could write lyrics. You're just writing words, right? But it's how that forms into your melody, and that obviously chops and changes. I don't think I could do it that way round. I would find it easier if I had just if you gave me some music. Yeah, I could fill that with words because you've got the flow already in place.
Yeah, sometimes it's easier, sometimes not.
I guess it's down to the individual, right? But I mean,
yeah. But I mean, in your particular case, if it's not a particularly strange set of chords with a strange melody or something going on, it's easy enough to write to.
Okay.
I'd just like to point out to listeners now, I'm completely lost where this conversation's going.
So, all right. So,
Carry on.
in terms of Christmas number 1, right? So, bearing in mind that time is getting a little on the tight side.
Yes.
Not for the podcast,
just a hair.
just the year.
Oh, okay, for both actually.
Both, yeah. So, would you be able to maybe sort of give us a bit of guidance in terms of a general structure for a melody?
All right, I tell you what. I'll just. Gary, do you have a melody that you can send us that we can put some words to for a Christmas song? That's what you want to ask, wasn't it?
I'll do that.
There you go.
Done. And then we'll come here and we'll record it.
I'll send you a Christmas song. You just tell me if it's in the right key for your vocals.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you now. Now I know my key. Who's vocally singing? Am I singing or are you singing?
I think we should both.
I think you should
Well,
both probably.
Okay, well, I am. I have had lessons. I'm a professional singer. I've done one song on stage. Thank you very much.
And your key is?
I don't know. Did I say I knew? I don't know.
You said you knew.
Well, no, I know I don't have a good head voice.
Oh.
I can't. No.
So you
can't voice inside your head.
No, I was very good.
Is there only one?
That voice is nuts.
He's a fucking nutter.
The song I sang was very much of the kind of the swing kind of the Frank Sinatra, that kind of.
By the sea, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, it was somewhere beyond the sea. So I hit that quite well because it wasn't too high and it wasn't too low, and I'm pretty much in the middle. I don't know what that means in key wise. Why don't you ask Pete because he's.
I was going to say, I'll actually just ask Pete.
Yeah.
How do you find your key?
Everybody has a key that you're comfortable in. I guess you just kind of sing along and bang on, in your terms, bang on a piano and go, okay, is it a C or a D or an E?
Okay,
and that's how I had my lesson. So he would hit one. I'd had to hit that note.
La,
yeah. And I would
and see where it's comfortable. Yeah.
And he said that, but as soon as it got too high, I guess, which is your head.
Switch to falsetto.
What?
Okay.
Isn't that
head
that
voice,
some
head
sort of
voice
pasta?
is falsetto.
Yeah.
There's a pasta dish.
That too.
Oh, anyway, I couldn't go too high. So
Okay.
so keep it down in the middle.
So
Happy days,
we'll keep
everyone's a
you.
winner.
What are men's keys? Probably, I don't know, D.
Duh.
That's the highest ever mark I got, so I'll be happy with that.
that.
I'll take a D. It'll get me through.
Yeah. Give me an F sharp any day.
We are running out of time, but we've got a little bit longer. So is there anything else, Gary? What do you want to promote?
Before we get to that,
go on.
And I'm sure you've forgotten to ask him ahead of time, but we'll drop him in the shit anyway. What's on your bucket list?
Huh.
And while you're thinking of that, are you a flat earther?
Do
you believe that the earth is flat?
I'm not a flat earther because if the earth was flat, cats would have pushed everything off of it already.
That's a really good.
Why cats?
Because cats are assholes.
Because
That's
cats
really
push
good.
things off of everything.
That's fucking brilliant. I like that. But do you know any flat earthers?
I do.
Do you? Seriously?
Yeah, and do you know what? I haven't told him this either. Ever since you've been saying this, since the first ever podcast, you brought it up.
We've kind of, we just haven't told you.
Yeah, I know the person as well, and I've known him for a long time.
Who is it?
No, it's not the point. It's not something that because I know you have an issue with flat earthers. Whereas
I just really want to have them on the podcast and have this conversation.
They'll join your podcast. Invite them.
Would he?
Yeah, of course.
Who is it? Come on, can we?
I'll tell you afterwards.
Okay, well, tell me
I'm not going to put it out there,
surprise.
but I know who it is.
Make it a surprise podcast.
In fact, I saw him on Saturday.
Yes.
Okay,
He was at the concert that Gary and I were both at.
No, mate, that's really cheered me up. Thanks for that. So that's got me over the result last night. Anyway, bucket list.
What was the result last night?
I'm a dead boring person, eh? Dead boring person. Me. Bucket list. Number 1 on Billboard.
Yeah. Okay.
What, you or a produced song?
A produced or written song.
How far?
Well, hey, we have just given you.
There we go. I'm
opportunity.
about to have my number 1 on Billboard.
Do you believe? We'll carry on the bucket. Remind me to go back to bucket list. With the Billboard charts and the UK charts, top 40 and stuff like that. How much of that is now relevant as it was back in the day with record sales? Whereas now is it more of a marketing thing? So the example being, we know in the UK most times the song that won X Factor will go to number 1 at Christmas. Which was rather than, so you never had the Christmas race until obviously that the rock guys destroyed it with a petition or whatever. But how much of the Billboard Top 100 and the Top 40 is really now still relevant?
Or more
the music industry is at a bit of an impasse, but it's only because if you look at the demographic, probably people aged 20 and younger listen to all of their music online.
Yeah.
On Spotify
streaming and all that.
Everybody older than that, and at least 30 from age 30 and upwards still listens to the radio. That's where we know to listen to our music. When we're in the car, we generally don't put a CD on or play Spotify. We put on a radio station and we listen to the radio. And so I think at this point they're equally as important as each other. In terms of revenue, from the artist's point of view, they still make volumes like 80% more if they've got a hit on radio than if they've got a hit on Spotify.
Yeah, interesting.
Spotify, those platforms pay next to nothing. Radio airplay pays a lot of money.
See, sorry, I'm going to keep going. On the radio side of things, so when you've got your band, do you have to the radio station will pay you? You pay the radio station. How does it work? How the band make money from a play on the radio station?
The band don't. The person that wrote the song does.
Yeah.
The band make the money because they become popular.
Yeah.
Because if you have a hit, you can tour and you can get people to pay.
And it's the
money
merchandise
to
sales.
come
It's all that
exactly.
Stuff, yeah.
And buy the song. The band makes the money from them selling the song and stuff like that. But from the radio station playing it, they pay royalties to the songwriters.
And how much would you say does it? I mean, for example, because the radio, I'm not going to mention anyone here, but let's say a radio station in Phuket's playing all these songs. They don't pay any royalties, surely.
No, but I mean, we don't live in a normal environment in terms of that. If you were looking at a Thai radio station, the Thai radio stations probably do pay royalties. Loosely, the way that it works around the world is radio stations, like they have software that, queue up all the songs and the adverts and all that. There's also a software package that they've got to capture into all of the songs that are played on a daily basis. And that gets reported back to an industry body within the country. And part of their licensing fee is paid to that body. So that body just divvies up the license fees to the songs that were played. And that is collected by other industry bodies. And, eventually you kind of you get the money in your pocket. So, for instance, your song that we're about to write together, because I also want some of the royalties.
Yeah.
So your Christmas song that we're about to write together, that will be number 1 this Christmas. We'll see
in Phuket for sure.
We'll see royalties from that next December.
Oh, really? It takes that long to come through.
Yeah. If we're lucky.
Yeah,
I mean, how long do royalties last for? Is there a set amount of time that a song? Because there's
as much as it's played.
So what about after 25 years? Is it you still have to pay the royalties? Because isn't there a rule that after...
they pay the royalty when they play the song.
Okay.
So the more they play it, the more they pay. If they don't pay it, the song doesn't collect royalties.
But how long does a song remain copyrighted for until you can use it for other projects?
In America, 75 years. In the UK, 50 years.
Okay. And after that, it's free for anyone to use without
paying.
Then
it goes into that public domain, and then you can use it and change it as you please.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just on a
but you don't earn royalties from it then. So.
Quirky note, in terms of music today, you've obviously been in the business a while, and you've also been a music fan. Do you see a difference in terms of, say, quality of, and I'm talking like your top 5 hits, if you like, on a weekly, monthly basis, the quality of the song that's hidden it? Is it more about the song and the music, or is it more about the marketing and the brand that's being pushed?
No, it's all about the marketing.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy to pick on, you know, if you listen to like the top 10 Billboard or UK or Australian charts, it's really easy to pick on those songs because they are crap. You know, poor lyrical quality, poor instrumentation in terms of there's almost nothing going on in the backtrack. But if you think back to like when we were young, there were crap songs around in those days. You know, Knock 3 Times on the
Not in
Ceiling
the
If You
80s.
Want Me, and, you know, shit like that. The 80s saved us. There was the 80s had not one bad song. But, you know, the 70s had some bad pop. The 90s had lots of trashy pop.
Yeah.
But I think because, to be honest, you know, the world's being dumbed down by the minute.
You reckon?
Absolutely.
This podcast doesn't help, to be honest.
So, you know, there's just more dumb. So, by default, there's more dumb music.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it's about to be even more. And I think on that note,
So we're going to redress the balance with a beautifully produced, melodic, deep and meaningful,
Absolutely.
yet upbeat and fun Christmas, soon to be number one.
okay.
I'm looking forward to that.
Well, on that note, Mr. Gary, thank you very much for being on the podcast.
Thank you.
Mr. Russell, thank you for being on the podcast.
Thanks, buddy. It's a pleasure.
And well done for not mentioning the great result between Liverpool and Man United. And that's the end of the podcast.
I'll say it. It's not the end of the podcast. The ref was bought and paid for. Maybe not by United, but by somebody.